Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. James here, and this is going to be a catch-up video showing some records and gifts that I've been sent by various very kind people probably over the last 2 or 3 months now. I'm really behind, so just going to quickly show you through those, give a quick shout out to those wonderful people and channels, and then stick around at the end because I'm also going to do some other shout outs for some of the channels I've been enjoying. Okay, so I'm not sure if this is going to be in chronological order, possibly not, but I'll just go through. So the first couple of things I'm going to show you come from Mark, who's known on the vinyl community as Flip Disc, and he was very kind and sent me a Deaf School album. This is English Boys. We had corresponded a bit. I do have the other Deaf School album, forget the name, and I'm looking for a copy for you, Mark. I found one the other day and it was a good price, but it was in terrible condition, but I am still looking. Okay, so that was great to have. Deaf School were a kind of art rock band from the late 70s going into the early 80s possibly. They were managed by Clive Langer, who worked with Voice of the Beehive and Madness. So that was a great thing to get. And then Mark was also kind enough to send me a wonderful 12-inch Donovan 12-inch Universal Soldier, Catch the Wind and I'll Try for the Sun, which is a great thing to have. I'm trying to expand the Donovan collection at the moment, and that's got a rather nice custom label. So there we go, Mark, Flip Disc, thank you ever so much. Mark does not make videos, but he's quite visible on the VC Facebook page. We have 2 or 3 marvellous gifts from Paul, known on the VC as BarakaPDub. Paul, you sent me some wonderful things. He sent me this CD. It's the Plasticono Band live piece in Toronto, 1969 by John Lennon. It's an original master recording, an ultimate listening experience courtesy of Ultradisc, which apparently is super duper sound quality. It does sound fantastic, and the remarkable thing is, Paul, is that this is a record I've never actually owned on any format, so it's quite remarkable that you were able to hone in on one of the very few Beatles related records that I don't know, so that was great. Really good album actually. It's got a mixture of solo Beatles and cover versions on it, all done live with an extraordinary performance by Yoko Ono at the end, which has to be heard to be believed. Paul also sent me this incredible record. This is a Blue Note remaster. It's Undercurrent by Kenny Drew. Not a record that I knew. It's just classic Blue Note, and an absolutely incredible repressing of this record. This is Music Matters, and yeah, Paul has shown, he's made some videos on that label, or on that remaster company on his channel, and I know he's a big fan of their records. I don't have anything like this in my collection, Paul. This is an extraordinary gift to send. Thanks ever so much. It sounds fantastic. Love Blue Note, and yeah, just incredible. And Paul also sent me a couple of other interesting tidbits. Paul works for NASA. He sent me a commemorative medal which contains metal that was flown to the moon. So yeah, that's just absolutely mind-blowing. Flown to the moon on Apollo missions. And Paul also sent me some nice NASA patches and stickers as well. Very cool things to have. So yeah, check out Paul's channel if you don't know him already. He does lots of marvellous videos. He's a big fan of pressings, you know, and doing videos about particular you know, mastering engineers and different pressings. He also does some great videos on novelty records as well and all sorts. Great guy, great channel. Please check him out. I'm sure you are doing so. Okay, so moving on, we've got a couple of CDs from Dean Down Under. That's Grandma's Handbag. Hi Dean. He very kindly sent me this CD. This is Nick Cave and Warren Ellis, The Proposition, original soundtrack. Not a record I knew, not a movie that I knew, but it's a very interesting record. Incredibly quiet, orchestral, but really understated. kind of mood ambience music, you know, think Brian Eno, people like that. It's got a very eerie, impressionistic quality. Great to have on in the background, also great to listen to in its own right. Don't have much Nick Cave. He's not an artist that I've ever got round to. Need to put that right. So that was fantastic. He also sent me a CD by an Australian band, UMI. I've also heard Vinyl Boy Trigger talking about them. Australian band, this is their album Owly Daily, and it has a very kind of classic Britpop feel actually. It reminds me of bands like Supergrass, that kind of early to mid 90s power pop revival thing that was going on in Britain. And you know, kind of catchy choruses, lots of energy, a great album for listening to in the car. So thank you very much, Dean, for those two completely unsolicited gifts. I am not worthy. Okay, next we have, so there's a guy who is on the VC but does not make videos. He's called Keith Justice. You'll know him by his name, his online name, Dammit Boy. He saw me post a picture of a Leon Russell album which I bought, and he promptly sent me a message saying, oh, Leon Russell is from the same place that I am in America. He grew up really near to me. He's my favourite artist of all time. I really want to send you some Leon Russell albums. So I think he went off and sought some out for me, and quite amazing. This kind of huge box arrived, and in it were the following records. We've got Leon Russell and Mark Benno, Asylum Choir 2. These were not records that I knew about or that I'd ever seen before. This is Carney, wonderful record. I have listened to all of these albums and I've enjoyed them all immensely. Love the artwork on that one. Very British scene. You know, back in the 1970s, caravanning in the UK was a big thing. I mean, as far as I know, it still is. Yeah, love that. This is Will-O the Wisp by Leon Russell. Picture from the inner there. And then this is the Leon and Mary Russell wedding album. So they were an item at the time. I did check and they were not an item anymore, apparently. This is a very lovey-dovey kind of album. Yeah, so if you don't know Leon's music, I describe it as kind of laid-back, Americana, quite sort of soulful, quite funky, kind of, you know, blue-eyed soul, pop-influenced, R&B influenced. He was really admired by Elton John, and towards the end of his life he did a duet album with Elton, which was quite highly regarded. So just a great artist to have in the collection. His records do not pop up in the UK hardly ever, really, so absolutely wonderful gift. Thank you very much, Sharon, for the conker, and to Keith for the wonderful records. Okay, moving on, we have Sean Wellen from Bangor in North Wales was very kind. I'm not sure if he knew that I was looking for the Furs. I have shown a couple of their records in recent times. Maybe I mentioned that I didn't have this one. So he was very kind to send me that, which is a great thing to have, Sean. Thanks very much. And then he sent me a record, a very interesting thing to send me, because it's not something I particularly talked about on my channel. And you know, by an artist whose work I don't know at all. Obviously I know Genesis, but this is Anthony Phillips, one of his many solo albums. It's quite remarkable, you know, he left the band after 2 albums, so he hadn't really made a name for himself, and then went on to a very long solo career. So this is The Geese and the Ghost, and it's quite kind of early Genesis, very quiet record, you know, it's very, I don't know, very ethereal and gentle, lyrical, quite folky, quite classical sounding, but just really quiet. You know, it's not background music. You have to actually listen to it carefully. And yeah, I was quite impressed that Sean sent me this. Sean is a very young chap. Check him out if you haven't already. He's young, but I suspect he knows more about music than I do. You know, I think he's very into it, shall we say. And yeah, that was a really nice thing to get, Sean. Thanks ever so much. Anthony Phillips and the Psychedelic Furs, interesting combination. And okay, so to finish, just to bring you up to date, this has come just this morning, so I've not had a chance to listen to it yet, and this comes from Martin Parrott, and it is an album by The Church. Gold Afternoon Fix. Like I said, I haven't spun this yet. Martin did include a letter with the album, which I've now lost. I think I put it inside. A letter which explains about all the background to that. So shall be looking forward to hearing the record, Martin, and to reading your letter in depth. So the Church were an Australian kind of indie rock band from the 80s. I really like the album he sent me already. Martin sent me a double album of their kind of early B-sides, which I really like, really enjoyed that. So shall be looking forward to spinning that one too. So thank you very much again to everybody who's sent me those marvellous gifts, and yeah, I will be back soon. So don't tune out. I'm just going to finish. I'm going to flash up some pictures of some VC channels that I think people would enjoy if they checked them out. I'll just put their names up on the screen. I'm not going to say anything about them individually because I don't want the video to be too long, but I really enjoy all these channels. They're all definitely worthy of your attention, so please do check them out, and I'll put the links in the video description below. Okay folks, see you soon. Bye bye.